Hey everybody, I'm TJ Majors, spotter of the 6 Cup car this weekend. 42 truck, 73 Xfinity, 88. No, I just messed that all up.
Where were you?
I don't even know.
73
I had all the
Xfinity?
series. 73 ARCA.
Why do you keep scratching yourself?
Dude, because I am itchy.
That sounds. You might want to say why you're itchy because that doesn't sound good.
Because these little black bugs, they were terrible this weekend, and I want to burn my legs off right now, and I don't want to wear shorts ever again at the racetrack.
Brett Griffin, I've got AJ Allmendinger this weekend at Talladega. Looking forward to getting back in the saddle. And then, Freddie, I'll pitch it to you so you can stop itching too. Never seen two pitch. It's like they got fleas.
I felt like that's what it feels like. I
think it's worse
imagine
than
like
fleas.
I don't know what fleas is like, but they can't, if it's worse than this, I'd just kill myself.
Tweet a picture of y'all's bites so people can tell y'all what it is.
That is.
Not
I don't know what the hell that
recommended.
little. What's up, Freddie Kraft, spotter for Bubba Wallace, Kyle Sieg, Dawson Sutton this week in
Top
the
5
25.
with Dawson Sutton.
Dawson had a really good run, especially first time mile and a half, and then Isabella Robusto in the ARCA race that did not go so well. Welcome
the ARCA
back.
race or her debut? Was that her debut?
That was
No,
her
that was
mile
her-
and a half debut.
Yeah, she ran Phoenix, I think, earlier in the year and was fast.
We'll get to that, I'm sure.
Clear.
Welcome back to our hostess with the mostest.
Oh, yeah. Who are you?
The lovely Casey Boat. How are you,
I
Casey?
honestly, I will admit, I miss you guys. This is
You're
a little
all-
weird. I
well,
never thought I'd say that.
Give us about 10 minutes.
Yeah, well.
Hey, Brett, did you miss Casey?
Yeah, I texted her last night and told her how much I missed her.
In fact, he said it multiple times.
and how glad I am she's back.
Oh, so you were drunk yesterday?
Hey,
what
he
time?
said it. He said it in the morning. Sometimes he would text me and be like, "Just checking in."
that doesn't
Just
make a difference.
Whatever. Anyways, thank you guys for all the well wishes. It was a long few weeks, amazing few weeks, but I'm glad to be back.
How is Miss Carter doing?
Oh, she's great.
Yes.
She's great. I do want to note that I think you'd appreciate this. The time that I went into labor that my water broke, Chad was at Millbridge. So I figured I'd kick off the show with that part and let you make fun of me.
It just
for
pisses me off you're already back skinny. Like, that's what pisses me off. Everything else I'm happy for you about.
Well, it's not like I'm on vacation.
Let me ask. So, Chad, look, the bigger question is: did he leave Millbridge when this happened, or
He
did he stay?
He did. He also chose not to bring his car, which, I mean, I don't really know what. I was 39 weeks pregnant. You'd think he'd make some decisions there, but he chose to have like 13 cars at Millbridge that night. And we talked about this earlier. I said it was a trap, but I said go ahead and race. It's fine. And then my water broke. So, yes,
At least he was here.
he made it in time.
Yeah.
And then he probably wished he stayed there after because my epidural didn't work. So.
So you getting any sleep?
Not really,
No.
especially when he decides to leave every week.
How mean?
But
How mean
hey,
were you?
It's fine. What?
How mean were you? Like when you said your epidural didn't.
If
work?
anybody who works at the hospital is listening, I'm really sorry for all the comments I made.
Look, what
Let's
kind of
just say
comments were
that.
you making?
I hated life.
She
at
was
that
probably
point.
very angry. She's
Especially
probably-
when there was an emergency and the anesthesiologist had to leave. So I mean,
So you had a baby without an epidural?
at 9 centimeters, it finally kicked in. It didn't work, apparently. I think she
Dang.
did it wrong, but whatever. It's fine. It's fine. How hard can it be? Just
So,
kidding.
how was it bad?
Not the pushing part. I was so proud of myself. It was like so quick, that part, but everything else was really sucked. So, not recommended.
this week.
Can you drink vodka and have a baby?
Right after you.
Right. I was to say you probably
Once
pound
the-
it once
they
it's
cut
out.
the cord and ain't connected anymore.
Anyways, I forgot how hot it was in this room.
Yeah.
That hasn't changed. Well, thank you, Carson, for filling in for me.
You're probably going through the change at this point.
I am. Thank you. Thank you for calling that out.
Hot flashes.
Anything else? Thank you, Carson. You were amazing and had so much fun with you at the wedding a few weeks ago. Anyways, before we head into our lovely BS section, I want to send our thoughts and prayers for those impacted by Hurricane Helene, and also share how y'all can help those who really need it right
Yeah,
now.
I mean, I know Brett tweeted a bunch about it this weekend. Just seeing the destruction up there. I mean, the flooding and everything else is
So bad.
Is so bad. It's good to see seen some guys, Biffles up there. I know
Yeah.
helping out. I think they said a Gibbs helicopter and some Hendrick helicopters
Yep.
are going up
Yep.
there. So it's awesome to see everybody pitching in. The American Red Cross has launched a massive relief response to get help where it's needed across a vast area covering hundreds of miles from Florida to Tennessee, Brett.
Yeah, I started following this thing last Tuesday, like closely, and when I saw 18 inches plus of rain was coming, I was literally panicked for that area because I mean everything up there is not made to drain like that. You know what I mean? So shout out, like you said, all the guys that are helping, and I hope now the race teams are home that they can load up some flatbed trailers with bottles of water, generators, gas, like anything you can. Our buddy Steve Barkdahl, his family is having to basically walk a mile and a half to get into a truck, which they're leaving beside the road, drive it 30 minutes to a gas station, and the wait to get gas was 2 hours to get enough gas to be able to go back and put in their generator. So man, just tough times for all these people, and it's getting some attention online, but not necessarily in the news. So if you're able to help donate, man, definitely do that. The Red Cross is 1-800-RED-CROSS. That's 1-800-733-2767, and definitely help us spread the word to help these people out, TJ.
Yeah, and if you you need help locating some loved ones because of the Hurricane Helene, the Red Cross may also be able to help you there. Again, you can call 1-800-RED-CROSS. That's 1-800-733-2767, and select disaster and provide as much detail as you can for them to assist you.
And there's lots of other folks that are helping out too. So just keep your eyes and ears open. And Chris Knight and I were texting yesterday too, man, because every little bit helps. These people have lost everything.
I don't like Coleman Presley lives up there, and I think he's just north of where a lot of the damage was. But what happened was he thought he couldn't reach his family basically for 2 days because the cell towers got wiped out. So
Right.
that's just a helpless feeling when we're in Kansas and you can't get a hold of your wife. He's got 3 little girls.
Yeah.
He was talking about his dad was out there. Robert Presley, NASCAR legend. He was out there. Chainsaws trying to clear roads to get people in and out, but it's just a helpless feeling. I know you can also go to the redcross.org is also another place where you can reach them. So just help out any way you can.
All right, well, welcome back from Kansas. How was it?
Apparently buggy.
Besides the bugs.
I'm surprised you didn't say it wasn't windy, because that would have helped you this time.
I wish it was windy.
It was still breezy, but not where the way it was going was not hitting the roof. So.
No, it was, Friday night, I think it was, Tony Raines walked by with looked like a old bandito. He had like a bandana tied around his face, and I was like, the hell are you doing? Like, what? But he was down at the other end of the spotter stand. He's like, these bugs are killing me. And I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, there's no bugs.
Yeah.
And then the next day, they must have moved on down because
I got them. You didn't get bit Friday?
I don't think so. I don't remember
did.
Friday.
I did. I thought they'd be gone during the day. I thought they were like a nighttime thing. No, they weren't.
They were not.
Nope.
No, Kansas was fun. I mean, it's all right.
As a fan watching, it honestly is like the old Atlanta used to be. Like it's probably the best mile and a half track. And I know we haven't gone to Homestead yet this year, but it's the best mile and a half track that we've got right now. And this car has some struggles on some tracks. Obviously, coming out of Bristol last week, we know it wasn't a great race. This was a great race. This had everything you could possibly want. The Cup Series, Xfinity Series, they both put on great shows. And Kansas City's a fun town. Like, this needs to become a bucket list race for all NASCAR fans that are out there because it's fun and the racing's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that area alone right there is really good around a racetrack. There's a lot of stuff to do right there. And then you can go to Kansas City, downtown Kansas City, which is probably 25 minutes away. There's a lot of power and light district, a lot of cool stuff down there to do. So yeah, it's definitely, and the racing, like you said, is phenomenal.
Do the restarts. 5 wide, going into 1, coming out of 2.
I said multiple times yesterday. I said 4 wide. Bottom of 4, middle of 4, whatever.
Oh, we were 5.
There's a couple people that I don't think heard that.
Hey, listen, we talk about it a lot on here. You're talking about Justin Haley, and that's last week they made a driver swap on the 51, but the team stayed in place. So the spotter of the 7 stayed the spotter of the 7, and the 51 spotter stayed the spotter of there. And now you're having to learn a new lingo, and that's what essentially happened there. The way
Do I need to come help Justin the last
I
5-6
don't think
races?
he needs you. I don't know if that
Justin
would help.
loves me.
he, it's just the way Justin's new spotter called the 3 wide is not what he's ever heard before, and I don't think he realized he was 3 wide and hooked a left, and I didn't know what the hell he was doing because Bub was like, "What the hell was that?" Like it was just like we're all driving down a backstretch and one guy just hung a left. And
TV was weird. It almost looked like Larson maybe hit him or something broke. Like it was really hard to figure out.
On the broadcast, they were questioning if
What
something
happened?
broke.
Yeah.
I didn't know that he didn't know.
Yeah, I mean the way. So I don't know how TJ calls it. I don't know how you call it, but I'm usually middle of 3 or mid 3. That's usually just the way I call it. And the spotter said 1 in and out. You're not supposed to laugh.
I almost spit my water out.
What? So
What the does 1 in and out mean?
1 in and out means there's 1 inside, 1 outside.
1 in and 1 out. I never heard it that way.
But I've never heard it that way either. But if Corey was used to that and now Justin's not, it's just a lingo thing, and that's why you hear guys going back and listening to other spotters when they're looking for a spotter is because they want to make sure. You can't when you go back and listen to audio. I tell you, it's useless for a lot of things because unless you're watching what the guy's seeing, the audio. I mean, you guy could sound like a great spotter, but if we had a guy one time help me and Brett said, "Could you see what he could see?" And I said, "No, I couldn't." And he said, "How do you think he did?" And I said, I thought they're pretty good." And he said, "Yeah, I did too, but I could see what he could see, and he did not do very good." He said he sounded really good, but he was so. I was like, "Oh, all right. Well, that's what happens if you listen to audio, but a lot of times you're listening for lingo, and if you use a stuff people have never heard before, then that guy's probably not going to use you." And this was just a case of that. It sounded like to me.
And he was running good. Like Justin was having a pretty decent day, top 15 day. All the Spire cars, honestly, were surprisingly fast.
How about that note Trey sent us last night? Did you see that? The Spire cars?
The Spire? Oh, yeah. I did see that. I thought you said Trace. I might use Trace.
No, Trey. Trey Ryan sent us a stat last night that the Spire cars, for the first 15 races versus the last 15 races, they have improved their average running position by like 5 spots. And they're first. Like I think it's Zane and Hocevar are first and second. Corey was like 5th, which obviously he was a Spire car until a couple weeks ago or last week. So I mean they're showing speed around the same time that the HMS cars are really.
Shout out to Corey. He had a solid finish, top 15.
He did a really good job yesterday as well.
I thought they both did good.
Yeah,
Corey had a solid day, and I thought Justin was doing, as good too. I thought Justin, as good as the 77 and 71 were, I thought the 7 might just be a little bit, quicker. But obviously there's an adjustment time, getting used to things, and I probably didn't really want to go out there and have an accident on his first race. But no, I thought they both did a good job.
And Justin is, and I've spotted for a lot of guys, as have y'all. He is a very aware race car driver. Like if something caught him off guard, I'm literally even surprised because going back to when I did spot for him, that full-time season he had, one of the easiest guys to spot for, super aware inside the race car, which helps.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
I've spotted for some that weren't.
For sure.
And I didn't spot for them long.
I mean, I'd imagine too. The transition, even now, like obviously their lingo is different. What do you think they're working on? How do you think they're working on? Justin, I think, said that asked him to just call middle of 3 or whatever it was the next time. And you talk about it. This is essentially, when I spotted that ARCA race on Friday, you have to change the way you spot. And that's what, I put the blame on myself for that wreck. Not that I cleared her when she wasn't clear, but, you got to, especially mile and a half, happens fast. You've never been on a mile and a half before. She's fast. She's set on the pole. So, I mean, she's a very talented race car driver. This is by no means am I discrediting anything she does. But I should have remembered that I was spotting for her and not spotting for Bubba. We come off, she gets loose off a 4 and there's a hole to get up. And I call her, all right, get up here. You clear for 1 behind this one. And the second I see she doesn't immediately start to move up, I'm like, okay, hold your line outside. That's when we wreck. So I should have just never even tried to get her in that hole because she probably was too aggressive on my part. Yeah. So she probably heard clear. I don't want this to sound derogatory, but when you spot for lower series like that, sometimes you got to spot like you have a 2 or 3 second delay. You can't, like when I tell Bubba clear, he's in the hole before I'm done with the word. Other people
and I'm not saying she doesn't trust me or what, but they don't move as fast, and if they don't move as fast, that's when changes quickly. So it is. I think I should have just told her to stay in the middle, hold your middle, and let them keep going by until we found a safer spot to get in. But it is what it is, and it's unfortunate that it ruined her day.
I had a similar. I should take a similar strategy in the ARCA races, knowing that I should just told Andy, look, Corey Day is inside. He needs all 6 lanes. Make sure you give them to him.
Corey's very fast. He's got to learn the aero balance a little bit. It seems like and like people are holding him tight, but he just when they're holding you tight. The one time he didn't even make it to the corner, he was wrecking. I think that was with the gray kid. But yeah, at least you got him back on Friday night.
Yeah, I guess. Well, kind of. Not of her own doing, though. But yeah, that was, it's weird, when you're with Isabella there, not very often, at Kansas, when you run the front stretch there, the race, every lap you run in practice and qualifying, you go to the bottom of the start finish line. But in the race, you basically go to the wall at start finish line. And it's completely opposite of like what they're used to doing. So when you're like, you need to run up here, and then they leave like a lane and a half, and you're like, nope, higher, get up there, like, because you're trying to pick the right side. Like, so I get it, why it's like you said, they just got to learn these laps.
Yeah.
Well, looking at the playoff bubble at the moment, it seems like some of our drivers had some trouble, such as Christopher Bell, although he managed to still get a strong day. Kyle Larson.
Did you cry?
What?
Did you cry when Christopher Bell wrecked?
Of course
you
did.
Did he wreck? Oh, yeah.
He just hit the wall twice.
Did you get upset?
No.
Why did he hit the wall twice?
I mean,
he's fast.
He ran out of talent on one of them.
I didn't see him hit him.
He just got loose. He was leading, right?
he was. All things considering, I think most of them still salvaged strong days. Chase Elliott. Chase
the guy
Elliott
you
still,
jinxed, one of them.
Okay, I told Jay, tell him I'm so sorry. Like, he's now 4 below the cutoff line, and he's regular.
Who really screwed Tyler?
Champion. Who?
TJ.
Why?
Because he got stuck behind you when you about killed yourself into one there on that restart.
Oh God, yeah, that was.
He shot the middle, and Brad was on old tires, which I didn't think that was going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, I know that he was going to be a disadvantage, but somebody
worked us up off the bottom.
And he got in the middle and was going backwards, and poor Tyler picked the middle at the wrong time and lost. Yeah. I think he went from like 6 to somewhere in the 20s.
I will say, though, that he was uncharacteristically.
Yeah.
Slow.
Yes.
For being Kansas and his, like, that should have been.
I thought that about 2311 as a whole. Like, I was literally waiting on Bubba and Reddick's name to just be in the top 7. You guys won there, right? A couple of years ago?
We've won the 45 car won the last 3 races there.
Wow.
The last 3 fall races.
I don't. That was weird.
We were
Missed
loose.
it.
We were loose. Really loose.
Yeah.
Interesting.
They were really loose too.
How does a regular season champion be already 4 below the cutoff line? How is that?
Bad races.
No stage points. No, and he only had, I think, what did he have? 15. So he was probably 25 points, maybe, or a couple stage wins, maybe 30 points when he starts. So
probably
you don't get stage points, and then you finish 25th. That's you're giving up a lot.
Do you think it's fair that really one race impacts so much?
Yeah. It's you got to run good.
They're all important.
They're all important. And I was talking about there was a Brett. Tyler's not one of them, but we talked about the wild card races of the first round, and now you have a straight mile and a half, just best race, one of the best. We just talked about the best racetrack we go to. You need to be fast. You need to have longevity in your car. And the guys at the bottom of the list are the ones we probably expect to be there. The Cindrics, the 14, the 99. Those guys just haven't had raw speed this year, but they got through the first rounds because they had great races at Atlanta, good races at the road course. So survived Bristol, and then now
here come 2 more wild cards.
Yeah, you got 5 of the first 6 races essentially are wild card races.
I think William Byron's good, but everybody else, if you get in a wreck lap 5 or to end stage 1,
the guy I think the guy you got to worry about this week is Larson. Yeah. He cannot find a finish at a drafting track, and it's not. I don't think it's anything he's doing wrong. It's just a lot of times it's just luck at these places. And now he's only, I think he's at 17, 18 to the good. That gets erased quickly if you get caught up in something, So he needed to have a much better Kansas to give himself a little buffer.
Here's where the fans win: is all those guys have to chase stage points. they can't go out there stage one and decide I'm not racing. Like, I mean, if you pull a Denny Hamlin what he did at Atlanta, and then you don't get stage points there, you don't get stage points stage 2, and then you wreck stage 3, you're eating.
Yeah. And listen, it's the way the qualifying has gone at these plate races, or whatever you want to call them, drafting tracks, whatever. It's going to be hard to beat the Fords for stage points, especially in the first stage, because they are super fast. They qualify the whole top 10, except for like one guy. It was a Ford, I think, at the last one. And then they can lock out the whole front, and you can't get up there. You know, and maybe more racing now. We saw a little more racing at Daytona with that fin on there, and if they may be doubling down on that fin from what I saw. But you know, maybe it makes it more racy. But we have to, you know, we being the Toyota group, have to figure out a way to get up there and break that.
Don't save fuel.
Well, okay, then you put the fuel in and they cycle to the back. So,
well, you had them on fuel last time there.
Yeah, was it there? Oh, was that where we all wrecked?
Yeah.
We were hauling ass. That was going to work right up until we
was going to work.
Let's go back to that fin. So there's been a few comments around NASCAR potentially making a larger change for the car to help keep the cars on the ground or help from a safety perspective. I know teams are a little iffy on it. What are you all hearing?
As a spotter, you never want to hear that they're adding an element to the vehicle, to the race car, that affects the driver's vision. And you don't – it puts you even more important than you already are. And at that place, you're already the second most important guy there, right? So, but listen, people, we can't have these cars taking off like airplanes. Because if any part of the car ends up in the stands, their lives are in jeopardy, and we can't go to a racetrack and do that. Like, and when we know the number, when we get the closer we get to 200 miles an hour, the more likely they are to flip, and the more likely they are to go upside down. We've got to figure out a way to keep these things on the ground. I think there's a lot of things that probably aren't being looked at that maybe should. Mark Martin said last week, do away with his underbody on these cars. I mean, I don't think that's a positive for keeping them on the ground. But you got to keep them on the ground.
Yeah. And what Brett's referring to is the rumor is they've kind of made the shark fin the length of the greenhouse, which is the front windshield and the roof, the front rear windshields and the roof. And the fin would run across the windshield, straight or up the windshield, over the roof, and then down the rear glass. It looked like in some of the pictures I saw. And some of the drivers were voicing concerns about, their visibility, which I would assume you'd make it clear, but it's still something attached to your roof. I mean, your hood, windshield, but I don't know. Like, I agree with Brett that you gotta keep these things on the ground. But how do they know? You know what I mean?
You don't know.
You just, you're not going to go and try to flip a car over at Talladega with this thing on there. So they did it at wherever that was. Was it Atlanta? We put the fin on and we still flipped a couple of them over. So, I don't know, but I agree. The drivers tell you that they'd rather flip over than smash a wall. But for the fan safety, you can't have these things flying up in the air.
The angles that are possible once you start flipping are probably not the safest.
Yeah.
They get off the ground. There's a lot of things that can happen at that point. But I don't
think anybody wants to be Ryan Newman.
No. I don't think anybody wants to get in the air.
Ryan Preece either.
I mean, you don't want to be upside down and have a car driving to your driver door.
Yeah, but what about when we go to Talladega and Daytona and even Atlanta? Well, there's risk, right? Sometimes guys don't make moves, especially, you don't make certain moves because there's a lot of risk involved with it. But everyone's so comfortable with these cars now that they've done the safety of this car is unreal. Like all the measures that have been taken to keep these drivers safe, from the car to safer barriers to soft, like everything, man. It's like off the charts good with everything they've done. But sometimes do you make, do they don't even, I don't even think the drivers worry about it. I don't. Do you?
Yeah.
You think they think about making that? Like, look
Probably
at McDowell's
not.
block. You think McDowell's worried about safety?
I mean, man, I hear you, but
He covered 10 lanes in like 2 seconds.
you're absolutely right. But I do think about safety. I mean,
I do too, and when Austin Dillon won that fence in that July 4th race, I know. I watched
I was
it.
like, he's dead. Ain't no way
Yeah.
he's walking away from this, and he did. Like, so to your point, and I mean, me and Tim Fedewa have talked about this. You know, you get immune to nobody's gotten killed since 2001, but man, people have broke their backs. People have career-ending concussions.
I mean,
safety still, man.
I think we worry about it more than they do.
I absolutely think that's an accurate statement because it probably looks worse where we're at than it does where they're at.
I just seeing the moves they make, like, and all of them. I mean, they're race car drivers. They're gonna make this move to try to win the race. They want to win so bad.
Dale Jr. juked Elliott going down the back into Kurt Busch, and Elliott moved and he wasn't clear. And when he started flipping, I was like, oh my gosh, like. Oof.
It's not a good feeling.
Well, and I mean, listen, Elliott flipped at Michigan. It was practice, and he ran over a piece of tailpipe on the front stretch, and the car with his right rear, the car spun around backwards and took off like an airplane.
Yeah.
And at one point, he was told he was higher than the catch fence. I was spotting from the top of the truck. We didn't have to be on the roof back then. But man, when you're watching these guys flip, I mean, even Larson's wreck at Daytona in the Xfinity race. I remember his engine ended up in the fence,
and a
tire, I think, went up in the stands.
Yeah.
I think the fence stops the first car most of the time, but what happens if there's another car behind it?
Yeah. That's my main concern is more so for the fans.
Absolutely.
Not the drivers. Like I said, a lot of them, you ask them, they obviously the freak accidents were like Newman's, but they'd rather flip over and slide forever than pound a fence anywhere. But
what I've heard drivers say, though, some of them say they'd rather hit a wall because you hit a wall once hard, boom, and then it's over. When you start flipping, it gets really quiet, and then you start flipping, then you hit, and you start flipping again, and you get flipping faster. I think it depends on who's flipped and who hadn't.
Yeah, probably.
Fair.
I asked Ryan Priest, does he want to flip like that again?
He might want to. You never know.
I mean, his eyeballs about to come out of his head.
He's hit the wall pretty hard, too, a couple times.
Yeah.
He might be a good one to ask. He probably – who was it? Was he the one that he got hit or he hit Larson? When they T-boned him there.
In 1 and 2, he's the one that hit Larson, yeah.
That probably hurt.
Well, I know NASCAR will be making a decision.
Well, man, you watch these wrecks, though, Casey, and it's like they're in a boxing match, and they just got hit by Mike Tyson right in the mouth. Gosh.
I mean, but to say that drivers would rather flip than hit a wall, that says something, too.
And think about it this, too, with whatever happens, whether they change something or not. Like the crew chiefs, the engineers, they'll be in full-blown panic mode because it's not been tested. It's not been run. We don't know what it's going to do. And guess what else we're not doing when we get there? We're not practicing.
So how does that work from a driver and a team standpoint, making adjustments if they were to make that decision to put it on the car?
Well, from the team standpoint, I would assume the cars are done or damn near done.
I think on Sirius, Rudy said he'd need to know by Monday, which is today.
They'd have to leave, be loading up probably Wednesday, I would assume, and get down there.
They've been known to have to unload cars though and add parts to them.
I think that's what happened with the shark fin in Daytona or was it Atlanta, wherever it was. It was late. But yeah, I mean, even for us, like we don't know now. We can go back and watch the last Talladega race, but there's now a new variable. Like we at Daytona, with the fin was on at Daytona, right? Or no? It had to be because it changed the top. Remember the top came in better, and that we think the only reason it was because there was a fin on there, so it made
it was on there.
It made for sure. Yeah. It was we didn't as the variable going in. We don't know. Like the first 2 races there was no second lane. You couldn't or third lane. You couldn't make it go without people saving fuel. It seemed like that it worked better with the fin. So now maybe does it work even more? Like can you be even more racy? Hopefully that is the case. But. So we don't know. We can watch the last Talladega race, but now it's not going to race the same because you have other variables on the car.
With obviously visibility being a potential issue, and as a spotter, how do you guys adjust knowing that they might not be able to see a certain portion?
You just have to know. Like we'll talk about it. And Bubba will go out there and run a qualifying lap at least, so he'll be in the car with it on there and know what he can see and what he can. If he'll just relay to me, I can see fine. I can see, I can't see out the right side of the windshield, whatever it is, and then we just have to adjust accordingly.
I don't think we're going to change anything the way we spot. You're still going to give as much info as you can, and it's just it might change his reaction time to certain things.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's going to change. We're still going to give the info when a guy's there. When he's almost there, if they're pushing in front, we're still going to give the same info.
All right, well, real quick, silly season news. I know Ty Dillon has been announced to drive the 10 car for College Racing next year. What do y'all think of that? Any other rumors you're hearing?
I was surprised the number changed there, but then I got to thinking, I'm like, man, I guess there's a couple numbers that are going to become available with Stuart Haas, closing the doors. So they've obviously got the number 10 in the Xfinity Series, so it makes sense. But I thought it was cool they had a 31,
Yeah.
I think this puts Hemrick back in trucks, if what I'm hearing there is right.
Yeah.
Some stuff's going on with crew chiefs and engineers and all that, but that's normal for this time of year. I don't know about spotters. Y'all got a bunch of changes coming?
I think they're already done.
Yeah, I think most of them are they're just changes. There's maybe some new guys coming in. Definitely going to be a handful of changes. I heard one wild rumor the other night that I don't know if it's true or not, but if that's true, then it'll be a big change. But yeah, there's definitely, I'd say, there's a fair amount. There's
is Alex
probably
Bowman going to quit driving and start spotting? Is that
yeah,
the rumor?
that's the rumor.
Okay.
He's gonna let Hamlin drive, and he's gonna spot next year.
That'll be awesome.
That'll be
I
fun.
hear he owes you guys a
How many
lot.
guy are always? We said one thing about him on here, and he can't finish out of the top 5. I'm proud of him.
His fans should love us.
They do. They call it all the time. Which, listen, like if you're talking about teams hitting their stride at the right time, HMS is looking pretty strong. Larson goes out, dominates last week. Byron, I thought, was one of the best cars yesterday. Obviously Alex was up there, gained a bunch of points. So, the Larson, I'm sure it would have been there if he doesn't cut the tire. Chase, he wasn't. He was probably, was he top 10? He was
finished
kind of.
it.
He was in the backs, and he kind of got in that first wreck. And he was fast, but he wasn't crazy. And then Larson had that tire go down and screwed my fantasy pick.
I think he was still top 7 or 8.
I'll tell you who one of the most impressive things yesterday was Blaney. The recovery they made at the end, where I guess he had a loose wheel, had to come back down on the green, and they were a lap down with like 50 to go. And I don't know where he finished. He was in top 5, I think, right? So
yeah,
that was impressive.
Yeah, he's fast.
Well, when we come back from the break, we will kick off Spot On, Spot Off.
Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets.
You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed, when you place your first $5 bet.
That's FanDuel.com/DBC.
Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
21 plus and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
First topic. Kyle Busch was squeezed into the wall by Chase Briscoe, who was fighting to stay on the lead lap. Afterwards, Busch said, "I'm numb," and Briscoe said, "I felt like I left him a car width and a couple of inches." And also said, "I'm a Kyle Busch fan. I want to see him win." Spot on, spot off, Freddie.
I think it's spot off to say you want to see him win, and then it's a kind of a counterproductive statement when you say I left him a car width and a couple inches, but I really want to see him win. I don't think Chase did anything wrong. Could he have been more accommodating? Yes, obviously, but you're racing to stay on the lead lap. The one thing I need Chase to do, and I need this is I've talked about this across the board with every driver. Stop saying I hate it. You don't hate it. You got the caution you needed. You stayed on the lead lap. I think it was Austin Hill, like he ran Heim up in the fence. And, I hate that happened. No, you don't. You won the race. Like, stop saying I hate it. You don't hate it. What happened was what you wanted to happen. Austin Dillon, I hate that I had to do that. No, you didn't. You did it. Like, stop saying I hate it.
I did what I had to do, and that's the end of the story.
Listen, Chase did what he said he did. He left him just enough room for a car to get outside, and we saw at Michigan a couple guys spin out in the same aero position where you get just offset to the right rear of somebody a little bit, and I think it just caught Kyle off guard, and he's probably pushing a little extra harder right there, trying to get outside of Chase on the exit to get that run down the backstretch because the one's still right there. And it just steps out, and when we've seen it before, when these cars step out, you can't bring them back sometimes.
Brett.
I think this was a Kyle Busch screw up, and I think he screwed up because he was trying too hard. And I feel like he went on a run this summer where he had top 5, top 6 cars, and he consistently didn't finish there because he was trying too hard. And I think we all know how talented Kyle Busch is. I mean, he's one of the best to ever hold a steering wheel. And it just shows you how hard these cars are to drive in certain scenarios. Weird thing is, like, you didn't see anything like this at Bristol. You know what I mean? Like, where you think you'd see guys running out of talent, cars getting loose, hitting the wall. And here it was all day long, just out of control. I mean, we remember Larson's wreck where he hit extremely hard in a very similar scenario like Freddie was saying earlier. But I just think Briscoe did not do anything wrong. I think Kyle just should have been a tick more patient. 100% understand why he was trying to get there. But, man, him and Ross had a battle. Like, It was fun to watch.
TJ.
Yeah, I think Kyle wanted to get around, he wanted to get around Chase as quick as he can because you get held up for 2 corners here, the other guy's there, and he's going to probably have a run, and it's going to be hard to stop him. So I can see the urgency for Kyle wanting to get around him, but the high side of 2 is probably the most treacherous spot there, I would say, when especially when you're on the outside of somebody, it's a bad spot. Like I talked to Brad about it before the race, even on the radio before the race. I'm like, look, when somebody pulls down in front of you, if you're running up or you're below somebody, you're not there, they're going to come down in front of you, and you're going to lose the nose right there. So plan ahead for that stuff. And, Kyle's racing for a win, and he feels like he needs to get around Chase at that point in time, which he probably did, because if he doesn't complete that move right there and has to lift and he doesn't hit the wall and keeps going, I think the 1 car is there entering turn 3.
Yeah.
And making a move on him.
Chase, again, I don't think he did anything wrong, but, he, for some reason yesterday, he seemed like he was pretty aggressive. He ran Bubba in the fence like lap 2. And then, Bubba kind of chased him down the hill and cost him a couple spots. But, then I seen Hocevar was complaining about him at some point. I don't know what they're running, if that had something to do with him getting turned around the back
Carson's
stretch.
as bad.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, he's aggressive. But now you're making and then Kyle Busch now, I assume, is not going to cut you any breaks.
Sure.
So
And he shouldn't.
And it's hard because I'm sure Kyle probably could have ran him a little bit differently at the end of that Darlington race that got Chase in the playoffs. And now here he is running him down to lap him, and Chase doesn't cut him any kind of break whatsoever. So, it's
still impressive that at 180 miles an hour, these guys can leave you literally exactly a car width, because it wasn't more than a car width.
No.
Like, I mean, he was going to have to cram it in there, and you were going to have to hope for the best, and the best didn't happen. But literally, Chase left him just enough room, and Kyle he knew it, and he's like, I got to get this, and then he wrecked.
It's just, if you're in Chase's position, especially now being out, which the next 2 races really don't really, but you don't want to make enemies at this point. And he made it. He does hate it. I'm sure Kyle helped him sleep at night tomorrow that Chase hates that happened. But
these guys,
stop saying that.
It's incredible that they can run 4 wide like they can run, and they do it like they do it every single lap. They can run 4 wide, and we got 5 wide a couple times yesterday. And these drivers, they know, if you say, well, most of them, if 2 outside, 1 inside, they know exactly how much room to leave. And is it tight? And you're like, oh gosh, but they do it. They know exactly how much room to leave for each one of them spots. And
it's insane.
You have to appreciate the talent level these guys have when they're in them areas. And this car, because it's easier to drive, I feel like with the old car, you couldn't, or an Xfinity car, if you get 4 wide through the corner there, you can't run.
Yeah, somebody's in trouble. Somebody's backing out.
Somebody's getting loose. But man, these guys are so good at the way they pass each other. Like the way Denny and Brad got to racing yesterday at one point for probably 8th to 10th, somewhere in there. And man, Denny wasn't giving Brad an inch, and at their certain points, on the exit of the corner.
Yeah.
Denny has Brad pinned against the wall. Well, when he moves down, Brad's got him pinned, and it's the chess match that goes on between them guys and at that speed, and it's really, I mean, I can appreciate the driving talent of them guys when they do that stuff.
Spot on, spot off. After being involved in a lap 1 crash, when Josh Berry's car was being towed back to the infield, Josh told his crew chief, Rodney, their NASCAR is making me get out of the car, Rodney. And Rodney replied, we're not getting out. We didn't come here to run half a lap. And Rodney then tweeted after, obviously just not having the ability to make that decision on their own if they only had to really change some tires. Spot on, spot off, Brett.
Spot off.
Period.
Spot off.
Yeah, I don't know how it can't be spot off.
This has to stop happening. I mean, these guys spent 3 days of their life. They left their families at home with a hurricane coming, and they spent $1 gazillion to build this car and drive this car across country, fly across country to be able to qualify, practice, race it. And you didn't let them because they have 4 flat tires. Are you me?
How are we?
Are you me right now?
I thought we had a deal built for this.
How are we 3 years into this car and we don't know how to get it around the track without flats? I know the dollies, but I don't know what happened. They must have lost them somewhere. We're 3 years into this car and we have not figured out how to get it to move around with flat tires. Like, how? How's that possible?
If you don't hit the wall, they bring you to pit road.
Is that what the deal is?
If you do hit the wall, they take you to the garage and you're done with 4 flat tires.
The I could tell because we were invested in a little bit because the 4 was pitted in front of us, and I looked down and they were on the wall with tires waiting for him to come, and I watched them turn in that cut through in the backstretch.
They could have just as easily drug him to his pit box.
Yeah. And they turned in, and I heard I seen a tweet from Josh Radio. It's like, Rodney, they got me in the campground. Like, they were towing him through that back way, and I'm like, they're done, right? Like, once they tow him in there, that's over. Then like, obviously they did not think they were done. They're on the pit roll.
Why didn't TV interview Rodney Childers?
Listen, I think Rodney is usually one of the more even keel guys in our sport.
100%.
So when he's
laid back.
When he tweets out that this is the worst thing he's ever seen in 25 years in NASCAR, that should say something. And what are you going to do when this eventually happens to one of your Final Four guys? Like, I get it. They're going to be a couple laps down, which that's already a problem. That you're going to, just because you got flat tires, you're going to lose 5 laps trying to get to pit road or waiting for them to tow you to pit road with dollies or whatever the hell else it takes when you probably could be a lap down driving it back. But you're still in the race.
What happened to the interliners that we used to have? Can you not do them with this tire?
No, I guess not. I don't know. We cannot have this continue on. Like, and
I'm flat out going to say it. It's not fair to Rodney. It's not fair to Josh. It's not fair to their partners. It's not fair to anybody on that team.
No, that's one race. That's this race, and you can say, well, they've had an awful stretch here the last month or two. But I'm like, what are you going to tell people when this is going to happen eventually to somebody in that Final Four? And you're going to eliminate a championship contender because he got a flat tire.
Like, I mean, it could happen this weekend.
Yeah.
You could, who knows?
Easily.
Especially at Talladega.
There's a wreck in front of you. You start hitting the brakes. You start sliding down the backstretch somewhere. You don't hit anything. You get flat tires.
So what should the protocol be then? Like how long it takes?
The protocol should be that NASCAR doesn't deem you unable to race.
Here's what I want to know. Who's making that decision back there? Like, who's making the decision on where? Is it somebody in the booth because they see a replay where he touched the wall? Or because it's not like Brad Moran and Elton Sawyer out there running around in the tow trucks and can look at the car and see, we're relying on a tow truck driver to tell you if the car's damaged or not, or I don't understand what that protocol is, and that's the question I'll have to ask, Elton or whoever when I see him. Like, who's making the decision that he goes to the campgrounds versus back to pit road? Where does that decision come from? I mean, I assume it's got to be somebody in the booth, but where are they getting there? Are they watching a replay? And
maybe John Sacco on the roof. You think?
Sacco.
He's too busy dealing with you guys.
Yeah, Sacco's got his hands full dealing with a bunch of idiot spotters. But
I don't think he's making that call, though.
I don't think so. But yeah, I don't. It's got to be, something's got to change.
If this happened to TJ yesterday,
oh God.
He's already in the bad mood.
Like right now, he's kind of chill about this, but this happened to him.
I was waiting for him to say it's not a big deal.
Yeah. He's ignoring you.
He gained
his blood pressure would be higher than mine right now.
Sorry, I was reading text. What did you say?
Shifting gears.
I've been freaking out. It's so damn mad.
Shifting gears to the Xfinity race, Cole Custer and Chandler Smith were battling for the lead, and Custer got squeezed into the outside wall. Custer was passed by Eric Almirola to finish second and said afterwards about Chandler, "I told him if he was going to race me like a clown, I'm going to race him like a clown. He's going to have it coming back to him now." Spot on, spot off, TJ.
Spot on, because I like now that we have two guys that are race for a championship, and they're kind of enemies now, seems like. So that we're all going to win from this scenario. But I don't know. You could kind of see this coming for lap after lap. I mean, Cole was getting closer. Chandler was running the turn down line in 3 and 4, and Cole was running up against the wall, and the meet point was right at the exit, and it was getting close sometimes. And I mean, I'm not surprised. Chandler's not going to just let you have it. He's going to keep doing it until he knows that you're either not going to lift, and it puts him in a bad spot at that point in time. But apparently he didn't think, he wasn't worried about Cole making that choice. So he kept going until Cole eventually ran himself into the fence right there. And instead of getting into Chandler, and, worked out. So
my favorite part about social media is you go look at this comment, right? And the thread will say, Cole Custer's an idiot. He did it to himself. And the very next tweet will say, Chandler's a clown. He drives like a moron. And it's like, well, which one is it? Like,
yeah.
So who you're a fan of?
I'm going to say spot off because, and I could go on and on about this, but you can't say you're going to do something, because then if you do something, NASCAR has to react, right?
Yes.
So you're spot off about what he said.
I'm spot off. He said anything.
Not the situation.
I mean, racing's racing. This is why people race, right? If they go out there and they're all nice to each other, and Chase Briscoe leaves 2 lanes open, Kyle Busch drives right around him and laps him, and maybe goes on to win the race. This is why you race hard. And there are certain points in the race, really in the cup race now, you race hard every lap, but the gentleman agreement is gone. Like, nobody lets anybody go anymore because they know when you catch them back, they're not going to let you go. So, I mean, the days of Jeff Burton and Clint Boyer and Tony Stewart and Jimmy Johnson, that's gone. It's over. These dudes are racing their balls off in every series now. And it's some of the best racing you'll ever see because of it.
The only thing I take away from this, and I agree, it's racing for the lead, and obviously Cole's gonna be upset because he got run on the fence and then the 20 run him down and beat him at the end. But my concern is, and only because he's a friend of mine, is Chandler. Chandler has a habit of getting out and getting after the race is over and going and yelling at people for racing them hard. We saw it with Mayer. We saw it a couple weeks ago with, I think maybe it was even Sheldon. You're the perception of you gotta sometimes, and he's not making any friends, and I don't think he cares. Like, that's one of the things, and that's fine. I don't have any problem with that. But the outside perception of Chandler changes because people see him get out of the car and then go down there and yell at somebody for racing him hard, and then they see Chandler do what he's just got mad about. He's doing himself. So that's the only thing I'm concerned about. The only thing I'm saying here is, don't, like, if you're, by all means, race anybody you want to death, but you cannot get out and be upset when it comes back to you sometimes. So, that's the only concern I have, which I know Chandler. He's a great kid. I just hate that. I've seen a lot of the same comments. People on the roof talk about it. He's getting a perception of, he whines about it when it happens to him, but he's one of the hardest guys to race with out there anyway. So I hate that perception for him, but I enjoy a mad Custer at the same time, because Custer is one of my favorite people, and he's so funny. And then when he's mad, it's even hard not to laugh at him because it's like, oh, he's mad, But
even his tone when he walked away from Chandler, I mean, if you watch it on mute, it's still funny.
Yeah, it's
he just snaps too. Yeah. Remember Montreal Canadian, whatever it was.
Yeah,
not Montreal, but Canadian Tire Motorsports Park.
Yeah.
Passport. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like a snapping turtle.
Dude, he just snapped.
Speared him.
And he takes run down the front stretch. I mean,
Goldberged him.
Yeah.
All right, Freddie. We have some exciting news coming up for the Roval race
Yeah. Next week, right? When the hell do we go to the Roval?
after Talladega.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's exciting. Yeah, we're going to do a little party. It's in the infield. Where are we at? Where are we going here, TJ? I don't even know. I haven't
I
looked
think
yet.
it's over there between turns 1, 2, 3 and 4-ish in that area. I think it's betweens. Somewhere.
You always put an S on the word between?
Somewhere. You know that walkover bridge over there?
Yeah.
In that area.
In that area. I
Yeah.
gotcha. Listen, it's free to anyone with a race ticket. It's located in the infield. Obviously, we just talked about where we're at. TJ, Jordan, Bianchi, and myself will be there after our show. And I'm sorry, we'll be there. And then after our show, DJ Slim McGraw, what a name that is. It sounds like
you, Brett?
Eminem and Tim McGraw.
Is that you, Brett?
Is that?
Well, I think the Slim kind of eliminates me. Round McGraw.
Tim McGraw either.
So he'll be there, and then we'll have fireworks afterwards for just in our honor.
Do we get to light the fireworks off?
Yeah, I think so. I think that every time we've done this, there's been a lot of beer involved on stage. So hopefully they don't let us near any pyrotechnics. But yeah, it'll be a party. It'll be fun. It's after the Xfinity race on Saturday night. So
Yeah.
so come and hang out. I believe there's a scheduled time or no? I don't know, but it's probably sometime
About an hour after the race.
Yeah, about an hour after the race or so. So yeah, come hang out. It'll be a fun time.
Bring, that one dude brought us like a case of moonshine one time. You
Yeah,
remember
don't do if you're coming. Don't come if you're you're uninvited.
That one time you got heckled by that host fire fan, I think.
that? I couldn't hear him.
Me and Brett literally had a case of moonshine hiding under a table in somebody's display because we couldn't keep carrying a case of moonshine around. So we were it was like we had a little still back there somewhere. But yeah, it'll be a blast.
Yeah, it should be
Basically,
fun.
go watch the Xfinity race and then head over and check out Jordan, TJ, and Freddie.
What's interesting to see what Jordan wears. Should we give Jordan a dress code for
man.
this? He'll have some.
Can he dress
We
up like
should
Brett?
tell him what
I don't think he'll ever want to dress up
we
like
should
Brett.
tell him what we are going to wear and not wear that. And then
I think y'all should wear sport coats like he does.
That's what. Well, let's tell him we're going to wear sport coats. Just let him wear it.
I'll let him buy me a suit like he bought Gluck for Daytona this year.
That was embarrassing.
That was embarrassing, he said.
It was. Did you see Glock? There's.
Gluck was probably very uncomfortable.
I would have to say yes.
All right, we are going to check our reaction to their phone line when we come back.
Hey, now it's time for our favorite segment, Reaction Theater, where the fans are the stars of the show.
I can't take you seriously. with
Why?
those
You don't like my
glasses.
glasses? They're TJ's Amazon glasses. I'm going to steal them.
Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage for plans starting as low as $20 a month.
If you're paying too much for your wireless service, pump the brakes, switch to Consumer Cellular. They offer big wireless coverage without big wireless cost.
And now, Brett, since you're closest, once you turn 50, you get 2 lines of unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 each. That is $60 a month compared to the $800 you pay. Or
Wow.
$1,000, my bad.
That sounds like a winner, and I am almost 50. So be sure and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com for more information.
The rate plan requires 2 lines of service, age verification, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and fees apply.
Oh, God, live reaction from a Chastain fan. Final lap coming off of 2. Oh, it's been a rough season, boys. Come on! No! Keep coming! Come on!
Why do you say no?
Yes! Yes! Woo! Yeah, baby! Woo!
Well, fellas, the melon felon has struck again.
A melon
Back
felon.
to Crack House Racing, #1 in the Kubota car, and he won it fair and square without wrecking anybody. Hell, he got Kyle Busch to wreck himself. Brett, shout out to the watermelon people out there in Pageland.
Woo! Waited all damn minute for this. I'm going to go home, cut me up a watermelon. Hey, question for Brett. I'm going down to Columbia for the first time next weekend to watch some Rebels kick some cock for about 3.5 hours. Anywhere I should go to go get myself a cold beer? Try not to end up like Freddie. Thanks. Bye.
Bro, y'all lost to Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Kentucky sucks. And they
You
beat
bet-
the
you-
brakes off
The
of you.
Cox beat Kentucky, right?
The Cox rolled Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're confident.
Juice Wells had 0 catches against Kentucky. You going to Columbia? Man, there's a lot of good places to go down there. Where should he go,
No,
Freddie?
there's not. I don't know. I've never been there.
Freddie can't remember. See
Oh,
Freddie's
you been.
phone, let him
I'll
know.
tell you what. Don't call me or Clint Boyer and ask for any information about Columbia.
Clint's dumb. He went to the Clemson game. God, it's been about 5-6 years ago. And he left his wallet in an Uber. Columbia is just tough on people.
It's a hard place.
It's tough.
Trust me.
I've never left there with $1 in my pocket. I will say that. Every time I wake up, I'm like, where the hell did all my money go? And it's 0 left.
I don't know. I guess where do you send somebody? 5 points?
I mean, I didn't lose as much money as you did.
Freddie comes back.
Freddie had a
nothing in his
$10,000
pockets.
Columbia trip. And it's only an hour and a half from here.
That's like his vacation to Angola.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I could tell you where to go, but I don't know anywhere we went, so it's fine. Oh boy! Don't go to the food line. They got
Oh, your credit card was the food line. I don't know if you did.
It's been there. He's been to a lot of Food Lions in that city.
Your cell phone was all over town too.
Anyway, where are you going to tell this guy to go? Anywhere? I mean,
Go to Bourbon. It's on Main Street.
Get a what's that drink called? Heart of Darkness.
Heart of Darkness.
Heart of Darkness.
Yeah, go to Bourbon. Go to Hall's Chop House. Go to Blue Marlin. Yeah, there's a bunch of good spots.
Oh, God. I don't know how to feel. Because on one hand, I'm a Busch fan, and I don't want him to lose the streak. But on the other hand, I'm a Ross fan, and I don't want him to lose. So every time there's a leader change, I don't know whether to be pissed off or happy. I'm not okay. God, why does this have to be such a confusing sport?
He made it really.
I'll
I'll
tell you one thing. I meant to say this after the first call. It's awesome how passionate some of our fans are. Like I remember there's a clip of when Chase won. There's a guy going nuts, and it's just cool to see that stuff. You know, it's a lot of times we talk about it becoming work for us. You know, you're on the road traveling a lot, and when you see what it means to some people, it hits home sometimes.
My man Kyle Busch leading the race. Yeah. We're going to smoke one for some Kyle Busch. We like Kyle Busch. Get it done, Kyle Busch.
I thought he said Kush the first time. I was like, wait a minute, what? I don't think he's smoking cigarettes. I got to be honest.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a cigar.
he's definitely not.
I think he might be smoking something else.
Yeah, the short, skinny ones.
I've noticed a pattern with a Briscoe, and I got some advice for these Cup drivers. Not that I've ever driven a Cup car or any race car, really. I went to police driving academy, but I don't think that counts. When y'all going around this you're way faster than him and he moves up, stop checking up. Stay in the gas and put that mother in the walk. That's when this will stop. That is when it will stop. I feel so damn sorry for Kyle Busch. God, what you allow will continue. Y'all remember that come November.
Chase Briscoe, dude, you are a jack. You're a lap down. You can't just give the leader the outside line, the entire corner, and then decide, oh, I'm just going to pinch him off right here on corner exit. That is called racing. If you want to block the leader, then block him the whole time. Take his line away on entry and force him to take the bottom. And here's the thing. He knew what he was doing. He knew what was going to happen with that move. He was trying to force a caution, and he got it. What a clown.
I swear to God, Chris Briscoe has the IQ of a door handle. That inbred, inept thing piece of filth to get beat to by having his brains bashed in by Kyle Busch with the steering wheel. Sub 25th place car, 26 to go, 20 laps remaining. What does he do? Gee, let me block a leader. What is he going to do? Finish 25th in 2026? You're still going to suck dog anyway, you idiot. And what does he do with all that wreck after Kyle Busch and the 20-year win a year or I'm so angry I can't even speak. What does he do after wrecking Kyle Busch? He still gets sub 20th. Why? Because he sucks. He Kyle Busch. He my spread, and he's gonna Joe Gibbs Racing when he goes there. That clown.
Why'd you beep the word dick out?
He seemed upset.
He was very upset.
And
If you're a Kyle Busch fan, though, you would be upset.
yeah,
So if you block the whole corner,
it's okay. You can
but
block the
not
whole corner, just
one part
not
of the corner.
He wasn't blocking; he was clear on
and
exit. So
the last I checked, Chase Briscoe is racing for a lot more than Kyle Busch right now.
Yeah.
And
No, I don't agree with that.
Chase
Winning
Briscoe, yeah, I don't.
How many years has Kyle Busch won a race?
19, I think.
Ooh.
Chase Briscoe advances to the next round. How big would it be for Chase Briscoe to advance to the next round?
I'm not saying Chase isn't racing for a lot.
He's racing for a championship. Kyle's not. Bottom
Kyle's
line.
racing for
What, a win?
I mean, I think he's
got
racing for
400
just
billion
as much.
wins. Does he need another one?
Yeah, to keep a streak alive.
Oh, so you
I mean,
think,
what I
you
loved
think that race is more
what I
important for Kyle
loved
Busch?
about Ricky Rudd was his winning streak. I mean, that literally
that's
made
cool.
me a Ricky Rudd fan.
You're talking about a guy
Chase
running-
Briscoe ain't racing for a championship.
He's
He
mathematically
is in
still
the
alive.
playoff. He is in the playoff.
Is Kyle Busch?
But he's not racing for a championship.
If you were Chase Briscoe,
he
I think you'd
actually
go for
is.
it too.
I'm not mad at Chase Briscoe.
I'm just saying he's
I
racing
said,
for more.
earlier, Chase Briscoe didn't do anything wrong. I just said now, if I'm a Kyle Busch fan, I would be pissed off at Chase Briscoe.
Yeah, I mean, I would be too. But
That's all I
Chase is
said.
going to do. Chase loses a lap right there. His race is flipped. He goes from racing everybody in front of him to racing whoever's behind him right then to try to stay on a lead lap. Like, there's a huge caution comes out. He gets a. Where did he end up? Do you know?
probably back there where I think you said
But
25th.
the caution comes out. How many times have we seen it? The guy almost gets lapped. Caution comes out. He has a good pit stop, moves up a little bit, has a great restart. He's +8 now. And Chase might need those points when it comes down after the Roval. So,
I don't know what you're debating with right now.
that Chase is racing for more than Kyle.
Himself.
I disagree with you.
Hey, you guys want to play a fun drinking game? How about you take a drink every time Burton says a little bit? Not even a little bit. It's a little bit. It's just a little bit lower than him. Jesus Christ, man. I'd be up if I played that game.
Sounds fun.
Poor Jeff Burton. That's just a little bit of South Boston coming out in him.
A little bit.
You know, I like seeing, WWE in NASCAR. I really enjoy white trash stuff, hence why I love the both of them. But, like, Cole Custer had the prime opportunity to, like, I don't know, kick Chandler Smith in the nuts and then hit him with a Stone Cold Stunner. Or, like, something. I mean, for sake, you got the WWE on him, dude. Throw at least a fake punch. I mean, it doesn't need to be real fighting. Wrestling's fake anyways.
Stone Cold Stunner.
Well, Cole Custer's double chin must be cutting off circulation to his head or something. I mean, I thought it was a great race. I understand Chandler might have chopped him a little bit, might have took some air off of him, whatever you want to say, but holy you're going for the win. Like, I don't know what else you could go for, and I understand that's lap 2, lap 3. We're under 20 to go. This is for the win. I mean, let's be honest, once Eric Almirola gets there, what happens if something happens between him and Custer? You know, then he's the winner. I don't know what the his problem is, but Tubby needs to figure it out.
Actually, it wasn't for the win because Eric won.
I didn't see what happened. Did Chandler run him in the fence?
They got to that point right on next to the corner.
Was it 2 or off of
4?
Off of 4.
You know, Chandler was running that turn down deal, and Cole was almost getting there, and he was to the point where he was there basically, and he hit the wall and lifted to save them from.
I think that if Cole was probably very angry at the end of that race. Obviously, him and Chandler had contact, but I forget who it was. Might have been the 44 car. Ran like the officials actually were doing a really good job of telling guys like, look what's in your mirror. What the lap cars I should be talking about. Look what's in your mirror. Look what's coming. You know, don't try not to be factor in the end of this race because it's obviously a good race. And the 44 ran Custer's line for the lap, which he's not doing anything wrong. He's on a lead lap, so he's in his right. But I think that's how the 20 caught Cole. And then the 20 was really good on long runs all day long, really.
Yeah.
But
I was surprised he was
him.
back in that car. I thought he was out of that car.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
Good for him. That's his second win of the year, right?
Yeah, he won 2.
Yes, he won somewhere else. I don't remember where. Indy he lost.
This is his second win, though.
Yeah.
I can't remember where.
I just called and left a message about what a great job TJ did spotting, and you can delete that one. I kind of messed it up, and I really want to call back and get Brett some good fat asses and yous and stuff. So I'll call back later when I've got my head on straight. Thanks.
Appreciate it.
That guy's my what an idiot.
And here he is again. Did he call back?
No, never did.
The
best part is I never found his first call.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
He probably didn't.
Yeah.
He probably didn't.
Darf.
I haven't heard that word in a while.
All right, last one.
I'm going to die of liver poisoning just watching the second car try to complete a race in the playoffs. God, it's like being a Cowboys fan. Just good enough to give a
Okay.
Listen, he's talking about Allgaier, and I don't know. He can get mad at me again if he wants to.
Did he get mad at you before?
Well, I'm saying he got mad at you or one of us.
He got a little
us.
bit. Yeah.
He's being his own worst enemy right now. I don't. He's so fast. Like last week had nothing to do with him. He just wrong place, wrong time. But this week, he just running up Sheldon Creed's ass through the corner and then gets on his left rear and packs air, and Sheldon gets loose and hits the wall and comes down and wrecks him. And it's Sheldon continues on, and now Justin's day's over, and I didn't even look. I'm sure he's still got a decent cushion, but you see this a lot. I feel like it happens a lot with him. It's just he's got to be smart. He's got such a fast race car.
Yeah.
Just get to the end and then see what happens.
All right. Well, to leave an audio message whenever you would like, just use our number, 704 802-9572, and we'll keep playing the best ones.
Consumer Cellular is the official wireless partner of Brad Keselowski, RFK Racing, and the 6 Car. If they can count on Consumer Cellular, so can you.
Brett Keselowski and RFK Racing knows speed, and that's just what you get with Consumer Cellular. Have you seen Brad's Consumer Cellular convertible? A symbol of savings, you might say. That thing is awesome.
Consumer Cellular has award-winning 100% U.S.-based customer service center, so you can always get the help you need. It's like having your pit crew right there when you need them.
Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable, nationwide coverage as leading carriers, but with plans starting as low as $20 a month.
There are no activation fees and no contracts. Consumer Cellular customers stay because they want to, not because they have to. They don't need to trap their customers.
You can even try Consumer Cellular for 30 days risk-free. If you don't love it, cancel it, but they bet you'll love it. If you're paying too much for wireless service, pump the brakes and switch to Consumer Cellular. They offer big wireless coverage without the big wireless cost.
And now, once you turn 50, you can get 2 lines of unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 each. That's only $60 a month. So why keep spending more than you have to?
Be a winner with Consumer Cellular and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com. This rate plan requires 2 lines of service, age verification, and credit approval. Subject to system and area limits. Taxes and fees apply.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Ask DPC Live post-Kansas edition. We are here to answer your questions live on our YouTube channel. This first question comes to us from Dustin. I listened to TJ on Saturday and Sunday with 2 totally different experiences. What's more rewarding or challenging, coaching a rookie or a veteran, or who is more experienced? So basically, does Dale suck or is he better?
Well, I mean, comparing like Brad is much more aware of what's going on at times. He's obviously a skilled veteran that's been around. So Connor is learning all these things. He's learning air. He's learning all these moves to make because he doesn't know. So working with Connor, trying to paint a picture of what can happen, and you go over things pre-race, like during the week. You talk about scenarios you're about to be in and what to do when they happen. So him actually, talking about it and then letting it play out on the racetrack is probably, it's definitely challenging, but it's rewarding to see, to say something on the radio where, hey, just like we talked about this week, then see it that transform on the track as well is always rewarding. But I don't know, anytime you can run good in a cup race, these cup races are, I wish we could put a level of how hard they are to win and how difficult these races really are, because it is hard. And to come out of somewhere with a top 5 definitely makes your week a lot better, and no matter what series you run.
Yeah, I feel like it's more rewarding. I don't know if you guys agree. Obviously, like I've been friends with Bubba I've been spotting for him for 15 years. Obviously, it's very rewarding when we run good, but he doesn't need me as much as he did 15 years ago by any means, So when you get out there, like you talked about Dawson Sutton the other night, you feel when you get a kid like that a good finish, or help him get a good finish, it feels a little more rewarding. You're trying to help him a little bit more than I would any other driver, like Bubba, namely. So it's more rewarding, I think, when you can feel like you help a young kid.
Fair. Next question is from Jim. Which tracks have the best and worst facilities for spotters?
So it's ironic. The best track for spotters is probably the worst location for spotters. This Phoenix, I think, is by far the best spotter stand in the series.
Given all these bug bites on you 2 idiots, I would say Kansas is the worst spotter stand.
Kansas is a good spotter stand.
It is.
It's good. It's got everything.
But you might want some bug spray.
You might want some bug spray.
Yeah, none of that was working. Somebody had it.
Yeah. I don't know where. The one I dislike the most is Pocono, and it really has nothing to do with the spotter stand. It's just the angles of you're close to the racetrack, and it's a damn mile down to turn 1, so it's really hard to see.
Darlington, you're on top of each other.
Yeah, Darlington, you're on top of each other. Looking over cameras. Yeah, but you're still looking over those cameras.
Yeah, but turn 4 is a little sketch. Like Darlington's tight.
Coda's tough.
Opposite.
Coda's tough.
Coda's definitely tough.
Did you ever?
Yeah,
you did. Yeah,
I've done 2 spotter stands there, and I didn't like either one of them.
You got eaten up there, didn't you?
I got bit from every. Yep.
Yeah.
Is that where there was a rattlesnake or something?
Yes, there was a rattlesnake there too. That's probably
Interesting.
that's the top of the list. I don't know.
Well, they're coming up that hill at you on those restarts, and you're like, good luck.
Yeah. Middle of 18.
Yeah, 6 wide. You're 3rd from the bottom. Now you're wrecked.
It's a little bit better now than to move the restart zone, so
yeah,
it's definitely better.
All right. Well, on a similar note, Tyler asks if any of you have chucked something off the roof or at another spotter out of frustration, which I feel like there could be a few examples
I
here.
think Brett chucked a fist at one spotter one time.
Oh, well, that guy was an idiot.
Which one?
I almost got in trouble for that.
He's not there anymore, but
I tell you what happened to me at Homestead is I had my keys on my finger, and I sat my drink down, and my keys slipped off, and they slid down that roof, and it literally sounded like a jet was taking off.
So Homestead is
off. They went to the stands,
an
and I'm
angle.
like, damn it. Nobody was there. It was like the opening day of practice on Thursday or something. But I had to go down and find my keys.
We had Bristol. We had one of the spotters lose his timer. We used to have timers out, for practice when we used to practice for 3 days.
Stopwatches.
No, this was a
it's like a
timer.
kitchen
Oh, the
counting
timer for
down, you know.
yeah. I got you.
And the funny thing was the guy made it himself. He's a very talented fabricator, and he made it himself, and it had his logo on it. So it goes down in the grandstands and hits somebody. So we get in a little bit of trouble about, hey, guys, do not, let fall off the roof. This is obviously very dangerous. So we're like, yeah, we apologize. The guy couldn't deny it because his logo was on there.
I'm surprised you didn't bring up the sandwich.
We go, well, that sandwich, we only tried to kill the track president that day. The next week or like 2 weeks later, we're at Pocono, and thank God, one of the spotters, Fan Visions, which you know how big they are.
Oh, that's heavy.
And we're they're right below us.
I remember
And
this.
it goes right below us, and thank God I looked down. We all saw, and when it happens, everybody knows it. Like we all see it go down there, and we just look at each other, and I'm like, oh, we're gonna be in a lot of for this. And luckily, I look down. Shout out to Anthony Bozzella, who was a young up and coming spotter at the time. He spots some modified stuff now. Hit him in the head, thank God it hit him, because anybody else probably would have sued us to death, and the guy would have gotten in trouble. We would have been probably thrown off the roof forever. But thank God Anthony didn't say anything. But whew, that was a dangerous day.
Oh, this next one is from Chris. Are you guys at all surprised that Colleague would take Dylan instead of Corey, with Corey already being a Chevy driver?
Corey
LaJoy.
There's some other factors in play there. I think you get a pretty good deal on your engines with Ty Dillon in your car. I would assume their alliance with RCR, so I'm sure that played a big factor. And that the engine deal is, it's millions of dollars a year, right, to lease engines. So
Yeah, I'd say $4 million.
So if you're getting
per car,
so if you got a guy if Corey LaJoy has $2 million in sponsorship, and you can get a $4 million discount on engines.
I think the big win for Colleague there too is obviously RCR has an invested interest in Ty Dillon.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
they want him to run well. So the alliance probably just got a lot stronger for Colleague Racing, which I know they want to happen. And I know they're making a lot of investments into being faster next year. So I think it's a win-win, honestly. Like I get, why you would say, pick Corey LaJoy over Ty Dillon, but I think the big picture is Ty Dillon.
Yeah, and to your point, Ty was driving that 25 truck all year. RCR was heavily invested in getting that truck better, and they did throughout the year. To the point where one time we go out for a practice, and Stockman is on the radio making adjustments. So they were obviously were and still are very heavily invested in Ty.
Next one is from Dustin. How worried should Reddick be after finishing 25th?
He better be worried. This is 2 wild card races, and I know he's going to be fast at the Roval, but so will a lot of other people.
Yeah, and this, we talked about earlier, with the numbers game, we have to come up with a different strategy to get stage points at this next week. The Fords are going to be up there. They just always are. That's the way it goes. The Chevys have shown that they can cycle to the lead on pit cycles and kind of get to the front and stay there on these stages. So we have to have a better plan than them coming in, and it's hard to do when you have 6 cars versus 15. They don't have to execute their pit stops perfectly. They can leave pit road with half of their group and still haul ass, where if we lose 1 or 2 cars off our group with a speeding penalty or some guy, they have a bad pit stop, now we're at a deficit. So it's hard to get stage points. So Tyler's definitely got to be on high alert now. He couldn't, like Larson, when you have a gap, you can't afford to have a bad race, especially at a place where you're expected to be good, and they both unfortunately did yesterday.
I also want to note, TJ, you are here, right? Your Tesla didn't break. Somebody was asking if you're here. You're just a little quiet.
That was a one-time thing.
I'm not
leaving for vacation.
TJ's in a bad mood today.
Listen,
so.
if that thing didn't start, I wouldn't be here right now. I would not. I'd probably be torching my legs right now to try to get these bug bites off because they're annoying.
They are.
Oh. From Melissa, from a few weeks back, how did Brett know so much about Viagra? I'm not sure I want to know the answer to this one, but I guess we'll ask it.
Do you know a lot about Viagra?
I think we were joking around about the milligrams or something.
I don't remember.
I know they're blue.
I remember I texted you about it.
I know they're blue diamond looking things. I missed the Viagra car. That was a hard one to pass.
So
next question. What is this?
Anyways, this next one is from Tanner. If you could build an all-time dream team, who would be your driver, crew, team, and manufacturer?
Well, I mean, is this going to be a 20-minute discussion right here?
Let's just pick driver, crew chief.
Y'all want to just pick one? You know, we'll each take a category.
Done. TJ, you first.
This is pretty easy, I think.
I think pick crew, or which one you want me to do?
You can't pick Kyle Larson.
You can't pick him?
What?
No.
You want to do the driver?
So he's off limits?
Yeah.
Why is he off limits?
Why?
Because he's the best driver.
So you think
you know
that?
who I take? I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to take Chad Knaus and Jimmy Johnson.
Done.
They weren't that good.
No.
They only won 7 championships and 80 races.
I didn't think that was that difficult of a question.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's hard to argue 7-time.
and dominant. Like
Jeff Gordon Ray Abraham was pretty damn good too.
Weird, TJ, that
Pretty
you're not
good.
picking Dale.
Not.
Well, they didn't stay together.
Yeah,
Had
that's
my
true.
fill.
That is true.
Not Dale.
I mean,
Had they stayed together?
Interesting.
Who knows?
So no other duos?
It's hard to mix and match. Like I think Gabe Hart and Denny are a great duo. I don't know, Gabe Hart and Larson, does that make a difference? You know what I mean? Like it's hard to quantify what
I think Kyle Larson could win with you as his crew chief.
Oh, that's probably not true. He could definitely win with me as a spotter. Like he doesn't need me or anybody else to spot for him. Probably guy runs half his life without a spotter or a mirror or anything. So I could probably just get up there with a lounge chair and have at it, buddy.
All right. Miss Circle 5638. What tech do spotters use that most people don't know about? This is probably a TJ with his million.
I mean, we all use the same stuff. So, and I mean, if you look at setups on the roof, there's nobody that has more stuff than probably Drew Herring.
Drew Herring, for sure, yeah.
What does he have that's different?
Nothing.
He has 2 backpacks.
He has, I don't even know.
I think he changed it up. Nick Payne has the biggest spotter bag I've ever seen in my life.
It's not a bag. It's
Probably
a case.
It's a
snacks in
case.
there.
Yeah.
There's no snacks. I don't even know what.
I saw Nick without a hat on the other week. I didn't even recognize him.
Really?
Yeah.
People probably say that about you too.
So basically,
No, I always have a hat on.
TJ's cool suit is pretty much the only tech that's different.
Tech,
I
don't
consider that tech.
I don't know. Maybe I could be wrong, but I don't use. You use a tablet. TJ's tablet. He had a problem the other day with it, but
Oh, my
I don't.
gosh.
I'm trying to spot. Like I'm trying to, literally, I think it was Pocono a couple weeks ago. I don't like to look down at when Bubba's on the racetrack. I don't not want to be watching him or watching what's going on around him. And Pocono, like 3 weeks ago, we fire off a practice and Fido had SMT open next to me. So I just look down at it and I'm watching to go into one to see like what lift. You can't see in turn one anyway. So I'm like looking to see like, all right, like let me see how Bubba drives into one compared to Tyler. And as I'm looking at that, Tyler spins out right in front of us, and I look up and there's small. I'm like, oh, check out. And Bubba's like a little late there. I'm like, yeah, no, I wasn't even looking. But like, I don't know. I get it. It's very valuable information that you have down there, but I have the same information on my phone that I can go to if I need it. As far as timing and scoring,
I use the tablet because it's easier to see.
Yeah.
And your phone, a lot of times there's overheat. Like it overheats and your screen dims and you can't see it. Like I don't know. Like in the tablet I have is an outdoor just rugged thing, and I just use it for timing and scoring. And I've got it laid out exactly what I need to see. And I don't do anything other than lap times and running order. Really, that's all you use it for. Lap count.
Yeah.
Sometimes how many to go in the stage, how many to go in the race.
Yeah, I just
things like that.
I know people have SMT open live. I couldn't do that. Like I wouldn't want to do that.
I don't see a benefit. That's not to me. I don't see a benefit of that.
I
during the race.
I got a button on my radio that can connect me to a war room, basically. I don't care. I don't talk to the war room, but I talk to the pit box, and the pit box talk to the war room, and they got just about every piece of information I could ever need. So if I have a question, I'm sure I can ask them.
During the race, I don't think that's our job to diagnose what the car, where it's missing speed at. That's not really our job at that point, I don't believe.
Next one is from one of our biggest fans, Master of Lights 24.
Hey, he's been missing the show live. He's probably excited he made it this time.
Agreed. Do you guys think Kyle Busch's 19-year winning streak comes to an end this season?
TJ, is it a big deal?
I mean, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, it is to Kyle, but would I be surprised if Kyle won? I would absolutely not be surprised if Kyle won. Would I be surprised if he doesn't win? I probably also would not be surprised if he doesn't win either. But Kyle's the type of guy, he's one of them guys that he can wreck 6 races in a row, and then he's going to win the next 3. And he's just one of them guys that has that ability. And he's been fast this year, so there's no reason why he couldn't win 2 or 3 races coming up. There's also, looking at his year, there's also the possibility that he doesn't finish any of them either. But, I mean, Kyle's won he's won pretty much everything there is to win. And, I mean, there's a couple races that he hasn't won, obviously, that he wants to, but, man, his stats, are ridiculous. So, Kyle, I know he's not happy winning, but he's still accomplished, I mean, more than most probably ever. I mean, how many wins has he got total?
I'm going to guess 65.
Yeah, I would say
but
so.
That's
ridiculous. Somewhere around 60.
I don't know how many.
I mean, that's ridiculous, so, for cup wins.
They've gotten fast. I mean, they've been in contention
for sure
for a bunch the last month or two. You know, he'll be in contention this week. They've been fast at the speedway races. So I don't see him. I mean, he'll be in contention maybe at the Roval, but I don't see that being a place where he's
63.
63. You were way off. Where else do we go? You know, Homestead. If he was as fast as he was yesterday, he's going to be fast on Homestead, I think.
For sure.
There's places he can definitely contend. And honestly, being a fan of the sport and somebody that's, you want to see him win. You want to see that streak continue, but hopefully we can beat him.
David Foster asks, thoughts on Kyle Petty comparing Seabell to Casey Kane and Kyle Larson as drivers who can't finish races?
Ouch.
That was a tough question. Tough one.
So here's the good news about Kyle Petty. He tells you exactly what he thinks, and he's entitled to whatever he thinks. And if you disagree with him, that doesn't mean he's wrong. It just means you disagree with him. So I get tired of hearing the same every time I turn on a race. Give me a guy like Kyle Petty that's going to challenge me or say something like that, whether you agree with him or not. I mean, Casey Kane, man, I remember him finishing second, I believe, 5 times as a rookie in 2003, 2004, when he rolled up on the scene in the number 9 Dodge car. And I remember a very prevalent car owner at the time said, you'll never make it because you like to run the top more than you like to run the bottom. And I think he did all right.
He did okay.
But, I mean, Casey Kane had a tremendous career in my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, what did he win, 18 races?
I forget.
How many races did he win? 18?
You just had to list up. What did you?
I don't know.
Yeah. Can you guess?
I had the Kyle Busch list up.
I would say, yeah. That was the thing. I forget when the comment was made. I don't know if it was in replying to Kyle, but remember Casey took that picture.
He has 18 cup wins.
How many did I say?
You said 18.
Get you some.
But you remember he took that picture in his trophy room, like there was a trophy out. He's like trying to figure out where to put it, and it was all cup wins. And he's like, it was because somebody was critical of, he was popular but not fast or something like that. Whatever. I can't remember who said it. And he's like, well, this, where do I put this or something like that? But yeah,
there are certain drivers that helped our sport get more popular, and Casey Kane was one of them. When he rolled up, he was like New Kids on the Block, made it to NASCAR. Like, he brought all the teenage fans with him, and he was tremendous for it. But
and the fact that he was so cute definitely helped.
I mean, yeah.
Sorry.
I don't know.
I can say it.
So like, for me, Casey Kane had a great career. I mean, Christopher Bell, he's one of the best talents out there right now.
Yes. And what you say on here all the time is, sometimes guys run out of talent. And the reason why when we're saying that, we're not saying they like their talent disappears. They overstep there, and that's because guys like Christopher, guys like Kyle are the ones you see it happen to the most, is because they trust their talent so much that they are on the edge at all times. Christopher's leading the race yesterday and gets, snaps free and he hits the fence. We've seen him numerous times, spin out, but that's only because he is driving every lap on the edge of that. You know, like a lot of guys aren't willing to go there. So, you know, they're never going to run out of talent because they're never pushing their talents as far as these guys are. So Christopher's extremely fast. He's going to be fast. If he gets into the Final Four, he's probably going to be the favorite. Like, he is an unbelievable race car driver, and if he can just maybe go down to 90% sometimes and get to the end of these races clean, you know, that's where you're really going to see him shine.
Next one is from CEO. My brother is going to Talladega for the first time. What places and events are a must-do? Boulevard, hands down.
Oh yeah, the Boulevard. I don't know. Do they do the big one at this where they do the drivers?
Yeah,
the parade through the
and
Boulevard,
then the concert usually.
Yeah, so go to the concerts. There's really not a lot around the racetrack to do. So I would just, if you're camping, stay at the racetrack. Stay there as long as you can. If you're not camping, have a dirt track. Have a driver home. The
dirt track's another one. Is right across the street.
If you want to be covered in red clay for the rest of the weekend. But yeah, there's really not much to do unless you're staying in like Oxford, Anniston area. That's where most of the teams stay. Some guys stay in Leeds. There's a bunch of places, but yeah, most of the fun's had at the racetrack all weekend.
Agreed. Do you see a non-playoff driver winning the championship round again this year? And this one's from Turn 4 Podcast.
I assume it just means winning a race.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's
Ross
easily.
did it, obviously.
The top three at one point yesterday were all non-playoff.
Even more than that. The only guy that I noticed,
William was up there.
I saw at one point the 48 was the only guy that was the highest finishing guy that was in the playoffs.
Yeah. It's odd for that to happen. And listen, Talladega is certainly a place where a non-playoff guy can win. After that, I think it's all playoff guys.
So the Roval, I mean, last year, AJ won, and it's because, you know, guys at the Roval being a cutoff race, guys are chasing points.
Yeah.
So the guys that are there for wins, which who's running the Roval, AJ? Or I assume it's AJ, right?
I would not be surprised if they both run it, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I know I've seen a list, and I don't think SVG's running, but I'm pretty sure AJ is.
Okay.
But AJ is he's only there to win the race. So he's going to be doing with flipping stages, getting track position, while other guys there's going to be guys that have to chase points. They have to pit. They have to run the stage out. So that's you can see an upset win there. Probably just AJ's about the only one. Or there's going to be guys that are just Hail Mary for the win there. But yeah, and this week obviously is wide open to anybody.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Next one is from Michael Erickson. Do spotters have their own spots at tracks like you can't stand there? That's TJ's spot. I'm assuming, yes, TJ.
I've seen Brett rip somebody's tape off
my
the rim
gosh,
a couple times.
I've never done such.
We are I'm 20 years into going to these tracks, so you just go to the same spot you've been going to, and the reason why some tracks doesn't matter, but the reason why you go to your same place is because you spotted so many races from there that you're really comfortable with the angles. You can call things quicker because you're more comfortable with it because you've seen it happen so many times. So you can be more aggressive with your calls because you're comfortable.
Yeah.
And it's important. It is important. And, it's sometimes there are places where it doesn't really matter. It's kind of the same thing. But, you just kind of I don't know. You just go to the same place.
It's like seniority. It's,
Yeah.
Sometimes Talladega recently built a new spotter stand, which needs to be about 10 people bigger. But they, when you did that, then basically all the team guys got together. Like all the Toyotas kind of stand together, all the Fords. But what happens is then somebody switches out of the Toyota camp or whatever, gets a little clumsy. But you ever want to see TJ get stressed out, just go to a new track where there's no hierarchy.
Or somebody's
sitting
in his spot.
Or bathroom. Yeah. But then you have guys, some guys drive motorhomes. So that guy's at the track on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and he could tape off a spot for all of his buddies. And then, we get there Friday and everything's gone already. But, it's pretty much just seniority. And we tell the new guys, you stand back here. When everybody gets here, you find a spot, you get there, then that's your spot.
Well, usually there's a guy, if there's a new guy,
somebody's on.
Somebody's out.
Yeah.
So you kind of go where they were. And
poor TJ Bell. The funny thing, TJ Bell took that approach. He said, I'm going to stand wherever Brett was the whole time. Brett's first year he quit. And so he did that. And then Brett decided to come back the next year, and poor TJ Bell got his tape ripped up everywhere he went. He said, you're out. I said, I don't know. I think you might forfeit your spot. But Brett didn't believe it or not.
Your spot, Brett.
That works.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining Ask TVC Live post-Kansas. Moving on to What an Idiot. Who do you guys have this week?
Corday.
He was so mad. Friday night.
Well, let me tell you. I'll tell you real quick why here. And Brett, I don't know if you saw his interview after the race.
I did not.
It was pretty bad, if you ask me. He said he went into turn 1 and came up the track and used up Andy J, who has like 2 cars at most. They have to repair everything themselves. Like it's hard to get to the track. They got a lot of volunteers. They don't have a paid pit crew. They got volunteers. And when you go and you use somebody up and you get done with your room, you say, I don't really care. I'm just here to win. Don't take my air. Like, first of all, that's not your air. It's your job to manage your car in the lane that you enter the corner in. If you go up the track and get in somebody's door and carry them all the way to the fence and just get out and say, I'm here to win. That's basically it. That just, I don't know. I don't like that attitude. I mean, I know you messed up, but just say, hey, I got in there. I'm learning. I got in there a little hard and got loose, and I'm just learning, man. I hate that his car got tore up. That's not what I had to happen. Wanted to happen. But what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely need to have a little better response, I think.
It wasn't the first time that happened that race.
Yeah.
Like, there was multiple times. So.
It's okay. He's learning.
I gave mine away earlier.
He'll be all right. Oh, you gave it to that guy on the thing? Yeah. Mine is me. For one, just even agreeing to go back and do an ARCA race was probably stupid on my part. But then going down there, and I had to get my radios programmed to do it, and which is another pain in the ass, obviously. Did that. Got my radios programmed, got to the roof for practice, went to take my stuff out, and I did not have a headset because my headset was still in the RE hall. No. I was like, oh, yeah, good job, stupid. So I had to borrow Joey Campbell's headset for practice. And then Ryan Blanchard went and grabbed my headset out of the hauler for me and brought it up for truck practice. But, yeah, not a good feeling when you go to unload all your bag, and I'm like, wait a minute, something's missing. Oops. Sound
like me going Nashville. Yeah. I landed and I realized my radios were still in Statesville.
Brett did that. Brett's whole spotter bag.
I couldn't help it, though. I flew with Clint Boyer to Lake of the Ozarks, and nobody said a word to me about the plane leaving. So I flew with him. I left my spotter bag on the airplane where it would be safer than taking it to Clint's lake house. I leave it on the airplane, and the day before we're leaving, Clint goes, we got a plane coming to pick us up tomorrow at 8 o'clock. And I said, what do you mean a plane's coming to pick us up? Well, my plane's in the shop at Wichita. And I'm like, well, my spotter bag is in Wichita. So, yeah, I didn't have a spotter bag. I showed up in Michigan in a full-blown panic, running around like an idiot, trying to find radios and headsets.
No hard card?
Thank God for John Levesque.
No hard card?
No hard card. My hard card's also in my spotter bag. Why wouldn't it be? Thanks, Clint Boyer.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. And Clint, he's like, it'd be fine. I'm like,
it's cool.
No, it's actually not.
So, yeah, I'm just
this is like you get into the racetrack and having a race car.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Moving on to DBC picks.
Logano.
For Talladega. Logano?
I don't think I picked him, have I?
Too late.
Probably not yet.
Yeah, I don't think you have.
It's down to me and Freddie, and everybody I pick sucks. How do you pick Kyle Larson and he run like
I'll take Keselowski. Sorry, TJ.
I'll take Blaney.
I'll take Cindric. What a coincidence.
Weird. So
they are going to line up behind him this week.
Besides a Ford winner, what are we thinking for Talladega? What can we expect?
Like I said, unknown about what the car's going to drive like if they add this fin or whatever is going to be on there.
I don't mean anything negative by saying this, but I feel like when I started in this sport that car and driver and spotter, like it was a formula to go out and win. And I feel like now it's just damn near luck at this place.
At these places? Yeah. It's a lot of luck. It's a lot of, unfortunately, fuel strategy. If you can figure out how to spend 2 less seconds on pit road than the guys in front of you, you're going to beat them. And that's I hate it.
I hate it too.
You're right that there's less managing the race like we used to. If you could get out front, there's less doing that. But there is the strategy part of it. Like we knew where we wanted to be running on the white flag and the first race there, and I thought we were in the best position we needed to be in to win the race. And obviously, you got McDowell throwing the huge blocks and that. But I feel like we were in the spot to win the race if them huge blocks don't happen like that, which I don't know if they'll happen like that again. I don't think a guy in the playoffs will make a move like that, and you're not. If you win the race, you're not locked in anything like that if you're outside of it. But I don't think a guy will risk doing that.
You don't think McDowell would do it again?
No, I don't think he'll do that again. I don't. Not that big anyway. He'll block, but I don't think you're going to have the, double or triple blocks like that was going on right there. I don't think you will. I think
you're crazy.
I don't think you'll do that again that.
I think whoever's. I mean, obviously there's
That was
certain
2
guys
inches
in
from
certain
being,
cases,
even
but
worse, so.
There's going to be guys. There are people. It's a cup win. You just talked about how hard it is to win a cup race, even if you've got 100 of them. You don't think Kyle Busch, if he's leading, he's going to be throwing 100 blocks trying to get to 20 years in a row?
I think you throw a hard block, but I don't think you throw the double or the triple.
I think you throw 100 of them, whatever it's going to take.
I'm gonna help my guy throw as many as it takes.
Yeah,
I don't care. That whole double block thing, that's gone. That whole strategy. It's just a lot different now.
I
feel like we don't race though until 5 to go.
Here's the problem.
5 to go in the race.
Here's my problem, and this is in a nutshell. And TJ, you were involved with this. Well, I think we had crashed out last Talladega race. When I saw, that's right, we wrecked with the whole Toyota group. So, I look at the lineup on that restart, and it's Laura. I forget who was leading. Was it McDowell? McDowell and Reddick. And I said it's the race is between them essentially because they are gonna be the top 2 for the rest of this race. There's no more pit stops. There's no more saving fuel. They're not going to move. Whoever comes out here, that's where they're locked in. And then McDowell or whoever gets the better push, TJ's going to plan it out at the end to try to push McDowell clear so then Brad can make moves, whatever it is. But you knew those 2 were going to be the guys that led these lines until the end of the race. And that used to never be the case. I would stay and watch the races because it'd be coming and going and guys would get runs. I left knowing, okay, there was probably, 30, 40 to go probably. And you knew that those guys were going to be the front row the rest of the race until we got to the very end and some stuff happened. But
the worst part about it is nobody wants to lead to get you to that point because they don't want to burn the most fuel.
Yeah.
I remember, I think it was Suarez that drove to the front when this whole
outside.
fuel thing started. And it's like, man, Suarez just drove to the front. I'm like, they let him. They don't want to lead.
Yeah, nobody wants to lead. It's just, you can't say there's no strategy. There's a lot of strategy to how much fuel you're saving.
Tons of strategy.
If you're a real race fan into strategy and stuff, you'll love it.
But it's just,
if you love saving fuel, you'll love it too.
All right. Well, thank y'all so much for listening. And we will talk to y'all after Talladega.
Well,
have a great week.